How you doing, Phil McKernan here. Welcome to eMentor. Probably the most extraordinary, in my opinion, one of the most extraordinary things that's happened in the world of sport in the last week. And it's Rory McIlroy. And for those of non-golfers, don't just switch out now and turn off because you say, okay, I'm not a golfer, I have no interest. Because this is not a golf story, this is a human story. And I'm a pretty big sports person. I love soccer, football as we call it in Ireland. I like golf. I don't love golf, but I like watching sport and I like watching good sport. And what Rory McIlroy did was absolutely phenomenal. And not because of what he did at the US Open on Sunday and Saturday and Thursday and Friday, by knocking the crap out of every record that is almost every record that has stood for 111 years, and considering he's 22 years of age. That's not really the success story here. That's not the story that really absolutely blows my mind. It's actually his bounce back. And the bounce back came when only previously, a couple of months ago, he basically had one of the greatest collapses arguably in golf history. He had a huge lead going into the final round of the Augusta Masters in the US. And he basically blew it, but he blew it in the most extraordinary fashion. He didn't just collapse, he basically blew up, like just crumbled and exploded from internal, just like a volcano. He just basically erupted internally. And even like the photographs at Augusta, like he doesn't hide it. He literally puts his head down like this at one stage on his golf, like he was just distraught. But the demeanor and the way in which he carried himself actually won him more fans than anything else. So in that respect, even that's a great lesson, that you don't have to win to be popular. You don't have to win to become famous. You don't have to win to actually win people over. So the way in which he lost was absolutely incredible. But then to come back and do what he did, like to bounce back is one thing, because most players that go through that, considering he was one of the worst ever, they disappear off the scene and they're never seen again. Or they become a Greg Norman, where they continually come second and never, ever, ever get beyond that collapse, and they can never kind of shake it loose. And they become kind of almost known. It becomes their signature to come second. He just shakes it loose so fast and does it in a spectacular scene. He had one of the lowest scoring rounds in the history of golf. He has the first 36 holes, the lowest in US Open history. He basically finishes with one of the lowest scores in US history, and he does it all at the age of 22. And he's the second youngest person on the planet to win the US Open, I believe, since World War II. So all of these extraordinary things happened, but it was his ability to bounce back, in my opinion, was what made him extraordinary. But what did he do? And again, no one will really know, maybe fully, but I've watched every interview that I can find. I've read everything I can find. I never refer to a laptop when I'm speaking on a video, but what's absolutely fascinating, this video might go a little bit long, by the way, because I just can't believe what this guy's done, is he does not refer once to, well, I went out and I practiced more. I changed my golf clubs. I changed my grip. He doesn't refer to any of those things. What he refers to is a combination of mindset and heart, like that inner game, that awareness, that personal growth piece. And he does it in a couple of different ways, some subtle and some very in your face. And what he does refers here in the Boston Herald, he actually says at one point, he says, as long as you believe in yourself and believe that you are doing the right things, that's all that you can really do as a human being. I mean, again, hearing that, we would have, going back 3 or 4 or 5 years ago, we would have seen a completely different reporting structure around this. It would have been, well, what technique did you use? What coach did you use? What he's talking about is what he did personally, about believing in himself, cultivating that confidence, learning from the collapse, and processing it in a way that he'd never done before. The other thing that's really fascinating is that when you listen to what he did differently, is only about 3 weeks ago he went to Haiti, and contribution plays into this. And he went to Haiti and he spent time with the people of Haiti who are in devastation. And what that did was it brought perspective to his life. So anybody there or anybody here that's watching this video, if you don't have contribution in your life, it's always a great grounder. We think we contribute to society, but I actually believe that when we contribute to society, we're contributing 10 times. We talk about tenfold. I think it's more to ourselves, because it gives us the opportunity to step back, and no matter how bad our days become, to step back and go, okay, it's only a game of golf. Really, in the end of the day, it's a game of golf. And that's what he did. And he was able to go back to Haiti and say, well, hang on a second, I didn't lose my mother, I didn't lose my father, my kid wasn't squashed under a house. I'm alive and I'm playing the sport that I love, and so on and so forth. I mean, I literally could talk about this for hours, because there's so many lessons in it, but I'm conscious of the fact that you probably want to get back to your shitty day job that you really, really hate, and then you want to justify later on for the rest of the afternoon with your wife over a glass of wine why you should stay there. So I won't keep you. Sorry for being sarcastic, but that is another thing that pisses me off. But here's another thing that I think is amazing. reporting, again, when we go back in media history, reporting was all about what he did differently, the coach that he had, the coach he didn't have. I find that there's a real movement and a shift in the world right now. And we have, again, in the Boston, I think it's the Boston Herald, we have a guy reporting here said that the headline is, "To be great, McIlroy must stay true to himself." I mean, what a statement. Where I feel that years ago it was like, to be great, he needs to emulate Tiger Woods. What they're saying now is you need to be yourself. More than ever in this world, we need to be ourselves. I had a gentleman got really pissed off the other day because I used the F word on Facebook. And I wrote back to him, and I was very respectful, and I acknowledged the fact that I appreciate his feedback. But it's me, okay? And I'm not doing it to impress or to offend. I'm doing it to stir emotions sometimes in people, probably because the emotion has been stirred in me to begin with. But again, it's being true to me. But he goes on to say, he said, basically in his own sport and era, McIlroy also has Tiger Woods as the ultimate example of how the mega fame and wealth that come to with a truckload of major golf titles can cost a man his soul. I mean, this is national media are talking about that you can get lost in the fame, you can get lost in the wealth, you can get lost in the success, and actually it can cost you your soul. As we've seen with Tiger Woods, as they refer here, but George Best, where did it all go wrong, George, was the question that he was asked by a guy as he was entertaining Miss World in his suite with drugs and cocaine and everything else. And of course we all know what happened to him. So we need to bring this back. These are extreme examples because this is an elite athlete, but again, the examples and the experience still applies to us as human beings today. Again, I could go on about this, and I'm just conscious of time because people's attention spans around this stuff is pretty short. But I think if you have an opportunity, go on to McIlroy, Rory McIlroy, look at some of the interviews, look at how graciously he lost in the Masters, and look how spectacularly he won in the US Open. And he even goes on to say, well, the course was set up easy and the conditions were easy. Bullshit, because at the end of the day, everyone had the same course. He still blew the crap out of the records. If he can hold on to his authenticity, his authentic self, he will continue to have success, but he won't compromise who he is as a human being, and therefore will not compromise his soul, as so many of us do when we actually smell and taste success for the first time. I hope this message, because I went a bit crazy on Facebook, and I think people were wondering, what the hell is he posting all these videos? Why is he so excited about a game of golf? It's not about the golf. It's about the person. It's about it's just about the human element of what this man did. I think we can all learn from it. So welcome, or well done, Rory. I don't know him personally. I hope to get to meet him someday. It was absolutely spectacular, and hopefully you enjoyed the message. Take care.